Welcome back to the Gamological Institute studios. This time we're going to talk about cavalry. Let's take a look at how those are going to work, especially on the big board. So, got a large setup here on the big board, and the reason for this is that it's the introduction of cavalry. So, I've got them as a split formation over here. I've got them all together right here. Now, the thing with cavalry is they don't go around in formation like our units do. So there's not a square or a column. They've got their own powers and abilities that just help them out in quite a significant way. So I want to show you a couple things that change. Now when we go to the big board, the overall scale of the game has kind of come up. So where on the smaller board, the units had full range of motion like the rooks do in chess, it's now only the cavalry that can move the length and width of the board on a move. So our individual units are now restricted to a movement of 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's still enough to have quite a good level of interaction and movement. Square formation is of course still 1, 2. 1 or 2. It could also be, as we've shown before, it could be 1 up and then 1 over, so kind of a diagonal move. A column is still has the same movement that it does, 1, 2, up to 3. Okay, so we've got all that movement. So the cavalry piece now, what's going on here? So cavalry can move the length and width of the board, same as the unit used to do, till it runs into something. So if you have an unsupported unit, cavalry takes it. So you're going to have to really pay attention now as you're moving about the board and doing your different activities, that you've got somebody close by. So several of these things that we'll talk about besides cavalry will be some of the advanced movement options that are now available when you're playing on the big board. The line formation. So that's going to be when you've got 3 or 4 that are in a straight line. They can have the option of doing a 1 movement. Okay, that can be forward or backward to do that movement. That is handy for keeping your units together. So these are all supported. Let's talk about what supported means for a minute. So this unit out here is unsupported. There is no other unit of his side that is adjacent to him. So that is, he's not supported with just the diagonal there. If it's behind to the side, now it's supported. So back when we had cavalry out here when we did the white side, so this is not destruction for that infantry unit by the cavalry because it is supported. So they had enough gusto to withstand the charge and to form up for that. Cavalry is here though now, so maybe white's going to try and come and join in. I'm going to go ahead and move this, and that would be a bracketing capture with cavalry. But this poses a problem that we're going to have to deal with cavalry as well. So let's put this guy back here. What is about to happen here potentially is I've got 3 in a row, but cavalry can't be part of formation. So I'm not going to do a column attack on this cavalry. But cavalry on cavalry, so mutual annihilation or scattering on the field. So cavalry on cavalry is how you can get them off the board. It's a bit of a sacrifice though. So right now I'm going to probably take my cavalry and I want to hold on to them for a while. And I can't do that because this cavalry piece is supported. So supported is a very important concept as you're playing on the big board. If a unit is supported, cavalry can't just take it out. And if cavalry is supported by an infantry unit, it can't just be taken out. All right, so get our cavalry back over here. Let's look at another way that it can be very handy on cavalry. So mobility is key with cavalry. So there is also another rule for the cavalry that basically says if your move is 5 or less, you can include a turn. You can change direction when you make that move. So there's a nice move set up here for this cavalry piece. 1, 2, 3, and turn. So it could turn and effect a capture here or here. So maybe we'll just boldly charge through 3, 4, 5, take that capture, and now I'm in the middle of these units, and they're going to be freaked out because every single one of these is unsupported. And of critical import, my commander is unsupported right here. So black's going to have to do something pretty quick. I can get support this way. We'll go for big support. I'm going to take this whole square, and we're going to come 2. And that has given support to several pieces. But again, I've got cavalry's up in the middle of things right now, so it could use his 5 move again. And let's get all the way in the back. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and be especially threatening back here. Now, what are you going to do when you got cavalry running around back there? So it's the same situation. You can bracket cavalry, and now that it's running around back here, it is in a difficult spot. So I'm going to have to see if I can't find a way to pin him down. Maybe we can start forcing him back out, at least by a diagonal move with this formation. So you can see how cavalry, and let's see, how many times can I say cavalry in this example video? Creates a whole new dynamic. You can't have your units moving completely around the board. And this is a good time to show one more, we're calling it a maneuver as opposed to a formation. It essentially works this way. So again, like back here, we were concerned, I had a lot of pieces that were unsupported, a lot of units that were unsupported. The idea is that if you've got some pieces and you're scattered like that, your turn could be a rally. And on the rally, you have 3 or 4 movements, individual space movements you can use to try and help your situation out. So in this case, I could rally as my whole turn and do 1, 2, and now I've kind of got a square. So cavalry's out running around and they're loose on the field. I can't have unsupported units. I'm going to pull together and start working my way back into the position that I need to. So in Tacticum, we're going to have some scenarios that are just on the small board, maybe with 1 or 2 cavalry pieces. That will be like an introduction scenario. So you can get used to playing and having a limit on the movement of your individual units as you go to the big board. So I hope that gave you a good idea of what we're going to do and the options that are available when we have these cavalry pieces included in the game. It adds a whole new dynamic, so it's pretty cool.